Main story. My name is Okoth Richard. I have two blood brother and step-brothers and sisters and a mother. My father was poisoned to death while I was still young, in around the age of 5 years old. I had a very humble beginning. In my beginning I didn't really experience luxurious life. I was born in a Christian family. My whole family were Catholic, but with time some changed to other religions. While I was very young and my father was still alive, I lived with my father more than my mother. My other blood brothers stayed with mother more. When father died, my uncle asked to look after me and my blood brothers. So I stayed with my uncle for some years under hardship. Then I also happened to stay at my aunt blood sister to my father's place where she was married. While I lived at my aunt's place, she inspired me to devote myself to God. She mentored me to prayerful life. My aunt was a very strong Catholic woman. She was given the title Mother in the Catholic Church, and that was the name I used to know her by as I grew up. My aunt had always loved me as her son right from the time I was born, and she had always wished I stay with her at her home. Before I was born, she had only one son named Okoth Richard, and her son was killed by terrorists named Kuni in northern Uganda, and his body was never found. She never gave birth to any other child again. When I was born, the name of Aunt's only son, who died, was transferred to me for some reasons. She really loved me like her own son. Everything that was good she would give me. Whenever she had that I was sick or anything bad happened to me, she would ranch to provide me the treatment and simply to check on me. She had always kept me by her side, never letting me go. My aunt taught me how to pray and fast. Whenever she prayed, I prayed with her, and whenever she fasted, I did too with her. She used to pray 5 times in a day, as the order was in Catholic religion. She encouraged me to do so as well. She taught me to behave in a Christian manner. While I was with her, she never showed me anger or hate, but only love. I never forget how much my aunt showed me love like no other. Even when I left her place, I continued in the way she built me. I never abandoned anything she taught me. In the year 2000, my uncle brother to my mother happened to take me away from my birthland Tororo district into the city Kampala, capital of Uganda, where he had his own home with wife and kids. I was added into the family. I was so happy to be part of the family. His home had many luxuries, as my uncle was a rich man. I had never been to a rich man's home before, nor been to the city Kampala before, nor known what was like to be in the city. Everything was new to me in the city. While I lived in the city with my uncle and his family, his wife took me to school, and was told to start in primary 2, because I didn't know how to speak English. I studied while being coached how to read and write during the holidays. By the time I reached primary 3, I had learned how to read and write, and I was the best reader and handwriter in class of P3. One time a missionary, a white European Christian man, came to our school with lots of boxes, which were full of New Testament Bibles. Whoever was present in school was given a Bible by this white Christian man, and I happened to get one. I was very excited. I had never had a book like that given to me before, so the Bible was like my first textbook ever received. Since I was coached how to read and I was already good in it, I began to read my Bible starting from the introduction. I read the 4 Gospels of Jesus and the letters, and went on to read the Proverbs and Psalms and Revelations of Jesus, and later on I desired to read the Old Testament. So one day a certain girl known as Gumaziriza, who lived at my uncle's home too, gave me her Holy Bible, which she considered old stuff to her. I made use of it by reading it right from the introduction through the Genesis and to the end of the Old Testament, and went back to the New Testament. By the time I reached primary 7 in 2005, I had already read the whole Bible with the support of other books and the dictionary, to understand the big words. The more I read the Bible, my life was transformed to believe in God in a mighty way. I could not leave the Bible, as I carried my Bibles everywhere I went, in schools, at any visit, and anywhere else. I always slept with my Bible by my side. The people who saw me, including my uncle's wife, told me that I would run mad because of overreading the Bible, but I didn't pay attention to their words. I was so addicted to Bible reading, I couldn't feel good without it. The words in the Bible were renewing, refreshing, powerful, and most of all transforming. It was my map that guided me to my treasure. The Bible, reading the Word of God from the Bible, raised my faith, belief, understanding, trust in God. Everything worth before God was raised in me. I didn't read the Bible for the sake of reading, but I was reading to understand the message and doing what the Bible told me to do. The reading motivated my spirit more, that I never missed a Sunday Mass, since I was still a Catholic. I had so much passion for God and everything about Him. Everything I prayed for, God answered me, and I was indeed so happy to have known Him, while I was still a very young boy. When I studied the Bible, I was still a Catholic, and I used to attend Sunday Mass in the nearby Catholic church, but when I reached primary 7 in 2005, there was a born-again church, which was just built very close to home. I saw that it was very close to home compared to the usual Catholic church prayer house I attended. I started to attend the born-again church, due to its few distance to home. I didn't know much of the born-again church by then. When I entered the born-again church, I saw the dances, drumming, praise and worship, the preaching and everything else very different from the way we Catholic did things in the church. I was not used to all that which was taking place in the born-again church. When I was there, I asked myself, what kind of church is this I have come to? Because everything there was unusual to me. As I was still a young boy, I never thought churches can be any different, therefore I didn't quite expect what was happening in the born-again church. I stayed in the church and learned their way, but still I couldn't really understand who they were at those moments, but I was curious to know more from them. Whenever the pastor called the people to be prayed for, I was always there before pastor, because I loved God so much that I never liked to disobey. In 2005, right from February, I was in primary 7, my last class in primary school. Something very bad began to happen to me, but I didn't know what it was immediately. I was experiencing health problem. My whole body was beginning to get weird feeling. I could get headache all the time. My brain senses were reducing and my eye vision, as well, were getting low. My hearing were reducing, felt something pressing my brain, and was feeling tight and hard. My breathing was becoming impossible, could manage to speak loud enough anymore. My legs could get long, severe pain from inside the born. Couldn't tell exactly what was wrong with me at those moments. My condition was just worsening every time. I had developed thoughts that I might die very soon, due to what was happening to me. When I realized this might happen, I made up my mind to pray always to God, that He should let me be baptized first before I die. I had never wanted to die before I was baptized in church when I know it. I had a thought that was the only way to be saved from hell and go to heaven, when you know and love God. I knew that was the only way to be saved, by the baptism of water as a confirmation. I learned that from the Catholic Church and my Aunt S, who taught me the Catholic faith.